Still doesn't like it without two screwdrivers, but it's doing it. Yay! Oh yes! Oh yeah. Yay! Right, so I've got the red bumper off. We've got a little bit of rot happening here on the spot weld between the rear panel and a little bit of the rear arch, but nothing nothing that's very surprising to me. Surface rot up here, but it's just surface rot from what I can feel, so that's good. Going along the edge here, we've got a little bit of rot on the edge of this rear panel, which is a little bit sad, but you have got 2 or 3 bits of metal wall sort of sandwiched together, so it's not really surprising either. Now that we've got the panels off, I can now start investigating what we've got to do with rust wires on the back end here. So you can actually see here where the outer quarter that was noted in service history to have been fitted when the sides were resprayed back probably about 30 odd years ago. You can see there where that joint is, and what looks like it's probably done actually is well, was it over the top? I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look when we take all the filler off the exterior of the car. But as far as this bottom here where the suspension is, that bolt there you can see is the rear mounting, I believe. And then here you've got the lovely seam where it's rotted through quite gloriously. But the good part is though, that bit seems nice and solid. Right there, back, what's that feel like? That bit there doesn't seem too bad either. But the thing, we've got this lovely great big bit of patching we have to do inside here. Back up to here, it doesn't feel too bad. Don't know how far this bit down here will go. So yeah, probably looking at a fairly intricate bit of shaping to do there to get a nice piece in there to patch back in. But I think the biggest change on this part in here is going to be getting to it, because this gap is probably no more than about 6 inches wide. And if you think about how chunky an angle grinder and stuff like that is, the welder will probably not be too bad to get in there, but getting a big chunky angle grinder is going to be fun to get into all those little corners. So it may well pay off, given the outside of the car is going to be resprayed anyway. It may well pay off to actually cut this panel open and pull the metal away. Just cut the entire piece out, because then you've got straight access in there. So, or where it can't be seen, maybe do this panel here. But then we might have to do that panel anyway, because depends if the rust has travelled up into this section or not. I don't know. We'll have to dig about and find out what best way to do it. Maybe ask some people that worked on these and welded up this area before, see what they say. Maybe even try and find a chassis schematic so I can understand what panels are joined where. Because obviously you got all this seam sealer in all these different places, and it's kind of hard to understand what panel goes where. So I've seen these cars go in really a lot worse than this. I've heard of stories where suspension's pushed through the floor, so I think I can safely say, given what I'm looking at here, that although it's gone, it's not lost all of its structural integrity yet. It's still holding itself together fairly well, I think. So yeah, right, I'll let's have a look at the other side, shall we? See what we've got to contend with. This side, I'm not entirely sure how to describe it really, because you can see a lot of surface rust going on along this inner panel here. But here, what I think I'm seeing here is rust pushing the seam sealer off. So what it will probably pay off to do, investigating this properly, is probably pull the seam sealer out with a bit of probably a chisel and really investigate into it. I've had a bit of a dig at the back end here. I've established that actually the structural makeup of these back cores is not actually as complicated as it looks. For certain I'm going to be dropping her axle to get better access, because that bolt there is actually I believe at least the top end of the rear trailing arm where where it attaches to the rear mountings. I think that's the rear mounting there, and that bit there I think is the inner seal. Basically, you've got the panel in here that basically butts up against there. This panel in the middle here, and then you literally just got a right angle piece here that goes across and then to there. So it's not actually as complicated as it looks, it's actually quite simple. So that's going to make my life a little bit easier understanding how to actually repair it. As I expected, has grown in size a bit. You'll instantly realise that on this side, it's actually further back and has actually started hitting the rear wheel arch. And I think that's because on these cars, because both the rear wheels are on independent torsion bars, one's mounted in front of the other. Taking me the best part of a few hours to work this out, but I've now just released the torsion bar spin spliny bit on the far side. So I can now start undoing the bolts up here and there on this side here. So it's that one there and that one there, and then these two here. The handbrake is already disconnected. The pipe, the copper pipe leading to the flexi hose there is disconnected. So the whole thing should now just come off onto the floor beautifully. Hiya, so I'm at this stage now. I'm undoing the actual mounting points for this rear trailing arm on this side, driver's side. I've chosen on this occasion, with a bit of experience from doing the passenger side, to undo these bolts here first, which is the top bottom one and top one here, and then undo the smaller ones there. You got, I think it's 4 13mm bolts this side, so M8s, and then I've got some M10s this side, 17mm head. I've chosen to undo these ones first because on the other side of the car, this mounting here being on the outside was weaker than this one on the inner side, and this one I can tell you is definitely nice and solid. So my idea is undo what's likely to be weak first and then go for the stronger side, because it's then hanging on the stronger side rather than dangling on this side and potentially damaging it. My original intention was to do the passenger side first because that was the first axle I got off, but I then just decided to get this one out here out the way, and now I know what I do know. I'm going to attack this mount first, purely because there is more of the passenger side one left than there is this side. Just going to undo the 3 13mm bolts just behind me that hold the other side of the axle on. I've just cut through this. If I can hold the camera half so it'll be helpful. Yeah, I've just cut through this bit here, all the way up here, and what I actually end up doing is jacking the car right up near to get enough clearance, because otherwise I'd barely fit it under here along with the grinder. So it's now sitting at full whack on the axle stands. So yeah, I'm going to undo those things, and hopefully it might need a bit of jiggling around, because obviously there may be a few bits, edges that are still attached, but hopefully I can get it off. Fingers crossed. Well, it's still fighting me until the very end, but it's finally off. As we can see, that is a patch that I've just had to cut off, and then behind it, well, the top half of that bit there, the original mount, is completely gone. So gives you an idea as to just how much of a rust trap this area here is. And if we look, where are we? That hole there and there both allow you to see into the quarter panel and inside the car. So that's just how sort of compact these monococks are. There's all just little box sections, and you don't quite realise how close to the outside of the car you actually are, even just sitting in the back seat. Obviously, this corner here is going to undergo some extreme reconstruction. We've still got I've got more of this original mount left than I thought I would have, so at least that's something to have a reference point with the whole time. Hopefully, hopefully reconstruct it with far thicker metal and rust proof it a damn sight better than it ever was before. Hopefully that should help prevent this from getting to this stage ever again.